gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative, and co-host Brendan, from the Brendan Statler Show. We are your source for conservative news. Now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, patriots and truth seekers, welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler of the Brendan Statler Show and Free Soil Media.
Tonight we're diving headfirst into the tempest of ideas, the crucibles of conviction, and the forge of freedom. In a world where winds of change blow with hurricane force, we gather here, not as mere spectators, but as sentinels of liberty. Our mission? To dissect the news, unravel the narratives, and expose the tangled web woven by the media elites. Buckle up, my friends, because we're about to embark on a journey that will make the founding fathers nod in approval and cancel culture warriors clutched their pearls. Tonight, we are unmasking the hypocrisy, one virtue at a time. You see, while they sip on their soy lattes and preach about equity, we are here, sleeves rolled up, defending the timeless principles that built this great nation. Principles like limited government, free markets, and the unyielding belief that individual liberty trumps collectivist dogma. And remember, when the First Amendment was celebrated, not canceled, when robust debate was a sign of healthy republic, not a trigger for safe places. Well, my friends, those days aren't lost. They're just buried beneath the mountain of woke nonsense. But fear not, we're here to resurrect them, armed with reason, with a dash of righteous indignation. Hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Love him or loathe him, he's the lightning rod that ignited a political revolution. His speeches, raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically American, echo through the annals of history. Tonight we'll dissect his RNC convention address, the one that had the Beltway at least clutching their pearls so hard they turned into cultured pearls. But wait, they've cried. He's not presidential. Boo-hoo. Well, neither were the Minutemen at Lexington or Concord. They didn't sip chamomile tea and pen eloquent op-eds. They stood their ground, muskets in hands, against tyranny, and so did Trump. Against Twitter typhoons and all that, his words weren't always polished, but they were authentic. And authenticity, my friends, is the currency of the forgotten heartland. So grab your pocket constitution, sharpen your wit, and join us on this wild ride. We'll dissect the news, debunk the spin, and remind ourselves why America isn't just a place, it's an idea that refuses to be canceled, silenced, or diluted, an idea that burns brighter than any virtual signaling bonfire. So welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where we don't just talk about freedoms, we live it. Because, my fellow conservatives, liberty isn't a spectator sport, it's a battle cry. And together, armed with truth, humor, and a dash of rebellion, we'll keep the torch ablaze. Stay tuned, patriots. The truth train is leaving the station, and you've got a front row seat. Welcome, everybody, to the special edition of the Conservative Viewpoint, where tonight we will be watching the live speech of President Trump when he delivers his first speech after the shooting attempt on his life in Butler County, where today we've got a lot of stuff in store for you, but might bypass it all and just talk a little bit while we're waiting for Trump to get on the stage. So with that being said,
Okay, before we get started, I just want to pay quick tribute to one of the greatest conservative voices, the great Lou Dobbs, passed away earlier today. So rest in peace to Lou Dobbs. Breaking news that broke just maybe a few hours ago. Political analyst Mark Halpern tells CNN, wow, Newsmax, I'm sorry. I
Yes.
don't know where that came from. But anyway, tells Newsmax that sources have told him that Joe Biden has reportedly agreed to step down as the Democrat nominee for president as early as this Sunday. We've been calling this, Charlie. We've been saying it for a while.
Most definitely. Now, this could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. Now, we're going to hear a lot between now and the Democrat convention. And they were supposed to do a virtual convention to nominate him when so many Democrats have spoken out about this because they think they were rushing things. Now, I got this article. Well, it's not even an article. It is actually 27 articles in the last 11 hours. 26 of the articles are Democrats asking for Biden to step down. One being that made it plain and clear that this was going to happen faster than what we expected was Obama, Biden's boss. He has told Biden that he needed to reconsider his stance in the race. Now, they're not giving a reason anywhere that I can see. Did you see anything, Brendan, about a reason?
No, I'm not seeing a reason at the moment, but I'm sure it's going to have something to do with his health. That's what they're going to say. Anyway, not his mental health, I'm sure,
No,
but
physical.
The one thing that I want to know, how is nobody calling for this guy if this does happen? For him to resign immediately, because if he is unfit to campaign and run for re-election or reinstallment is what we should really call it, then how is he fit to remain president until January 20th? I don't know how they're going to lay out that argument. I know it would make Kamala Harris the president for the time being, but I don't, we could speculate about who is going to replace Biden if this all takes place. I've said who I thought it was going to be many times, but I don't think it really matters at this point. I think that the political lines are already drawn. Either you're voting for Trump or you're voting for whoever's on the Democrat side, and a handful of people are going to vote Kennedy. I think everybody pretty much has their mind made up at this point. It doesn't matter who the Democrats put up. I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No, I don't. But there are some people in this list asking for him to step down. Now, and the one piece of shit racist I cannot stand, and he should be in prison for tax evasion, is Al Sharpton. He says he told Biden that staying in the race could imperil his legacy. Are you kidding me? The man doesn't have a legacy. He has a legacy of failures. The whole 50 plus years that this man's been in here has been nothing but one big failure and lie after another. Unlike what that dumbass, what's his name from MSNBC?
Joe Scarborough
says, Joe Biden has been a liar from day one, from college, actually, when he plagiarized stuff in college. Then he plagiarized
many things in college. Plagiarized many things.
Right. And then when he becomes senator, he was plagiarizing stuff. So it's like, okay. But then all the lies. I mean, you want to go through them, we can go through some of them. I mean, he never drove truck. His house never burned down. He was never arrested for civil rights movement that he said he was marching in. Never. And that is only a couple that I can think off right off my top of my head. But I can keep going on different things. And I had the list and I should have found it. But I tell you what, I had 2 or 3 pages full of lies from this man. So if these idiots want to try to sit there and say that he's the best thing that's ever happened, I still have a woman in Facebook that's still sitting there telling me that our country was not better under Trump. She still will not answer my questions. She got back on again today and put the same thing down. I can say what I want. Our country was better under Biden. I said, how? Give me one thing. And she still won't answer me. Big mouth liberals need to shut their mouth and go back in the basement with your crayons and lick your windows. Idiot.
Yeah. The only reason that, back to Biden's legacy, the only reason that anybody even knows who Joe Biden is because he was the vice president of the first black president. If he was not Obama's VP, nobody would even know who this guy was. Nobody. He would have never ran for president in 2020. Nobody would know who this guy is because he has no legacy. The only legacy that he has now is the fact that he's been wrong on every issue that he has attacked in his entire political career. This guy has not made one right decision his entire political career. Everything he has done has been horrible for the country. You know, that's been the story inside Washington, D.C. for the last, how many decades, as long as this guy's been in, that he is the dumbest person in Washington, D.C. That is Joe Biden's legacy. Yeah. And when you talk about liberals, when you ask them to give you one example of how the country is better under Biden than under Trump, they can't give you an answer because they don't really believe it. They just don't want to see Donald Trump back in the White House. They would rather see the country burn than have Donald Trump back in the White House. It goes back to what I said before. The anti-Trump group that says those lies that the country is better now than under Trump would vote for the person that raped their daughter before they'll vote for Donald Trump. That's just how these people think. It's a mental disease. It's an illness.
Exactly. Aaron, John, Billy Bob, how you doing? And John, I don't know where everybody's at. We got to find them. I know other shows are going on. I know that the American Rebellion, he's playing the RNC, and I think he just set it on there and left and or something. When I went in there, that's what I saw. When I went, I thought he was actually having a show, but all I saw was the RNC playing. So maybe they're in there or they're on Mel K watching that or something. But hopefully they get on board and get in here. And
yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the RNC, making sure nothing big
pops up early.
That people might want to see.
Right, exactly. But we got so many people that have called for him just today. In 11 hours, 27 different people called for him to step down. That's an amazing amount of people but we've been called, whoa, holy shit, man, it's going nuts in Newsmax. Chat was going crazy. But I also got it for you guys tonight. Let's see. We're going to go with here first. I got a video for you guys to watch. And I got to find them because I just threw these ones in on top of what I had planned for today. But I don't think we're going to get into what I had planned. But I want to show you, and this is another reason why when this is Biden coming off a plane and having trouble getting in his SUV. And this is just recently. This is not the last time we saw this, but I want you to watch this. And it's only, 31 seconds. But this is another reason why he needed to go. Watch this. Did you see him trying to get in there? The Secret Service agent had to lift his legs. He could barely walk down those steps from the baby stairs on the plane. The man is going downhill quicker than ever. And so if you idiots want to sit out there and say that he's fine and he's good to go, he's not. He's not been good for quite a while. And that idiot, Joe Scarborough, they've been covering for him. And they're sitting there just today, I think it was, saying how great Biden is and all that stuff. And then this happens.
Yeah.
Idiots in Facebook are doing the same thing. They were sitting there yesterday saying, "Look at the polls. Look at the polls. Biden's way ahead." I said, "You idiots! No, he's not. There's
No.
not a poll that shows him ahead, and they're saying he's. Guess who's going to win?" I had to go tell the guy early after you sent me that video. I went in there and said, "Dude, you're an effing idiot," and I had to be nice about it because I wanted to stream on Facebook today.
Yeah, but that's the other reason I think this whole process is going to blow up in the Democrats' face, because remember, it was the media that was telling us for how long, Joe Biden's sharp as a tack, he works circles around everyone else. Then the debate happens.
Yeah.
Then they act like they are all so shocked at what they saw. They're not. They weren't shocked. They were lying to everybody. I mean, then the reports start coming out that he can't do anything after 4 p.m. I mean, it's the media knew this the entire time. And people that have the slightest bit of common sense, no matter how anti-Trump they may be, if they have any shred of common sense, they could come to the conclusion that the media lied to them. Now the Democrats, it looks like, are going to pick a new candidate because Joe Biden is not endorsing Kamala Harris, by the way, if this takes place. Right. He apparently is going to push for an open convention. Now, I got to be honest, I'm not completely sure how open conventions work because I can't remember the last time that's ever happened. But
I don't think
a lot of Democrats are going to be pissed off because they voted for Joe Biden as their nominee. A lot of people are going to feel disenfranchised, and you might see a lot of people sit out. You'll still see some shitheads go and vote for whoever they put up because, their Trump derangement syndrome is so rampant.
No shit.
There is going to be a lot of people, I think, on the Democrat side that sit out this election because they've just been disenfranchised. Right. And they've been lied to by the media, and they recognize they've been lied to by the media.
Right. First off, I want to say welcome to the show, Timothy. If this is your first time, welcome. And John, yeah, I saw that too. I thought he was going to fall down the steps when he first come out. And then Aaron, I don't know, Kamala's going to be pissed off royally because of this open convention. I don't think it's ever happened in my time. And I'm 56 years old. So
I don't think she wants it. I don't think she wants it.
Oh, I think she does.
I don't think so because
she does.
She can't even help being vice president. She doesn't want the responsibility. She just wants She just wants
big shot.
She wants the status. She does.
Yeah, but
she doesn't want to be president.
But if she could get him out now, she wouldn't have that long to be president. And then she could say, "I was the first president of the United States, the female president."
Well, possibly, but they're already saying now, like I said, none of this is verified. This is all just inside sources that are saying that Biden will not resign the presidency. He just won't seek re-election. So he would be president until January 20th, when the next president, which is most likely to be Donald Trump, will be sworn in. So I don't think that scenario plays out where she's president even for a little bit. I think she wants nothing to do with it. That's
depends on the excuse he gives, because if he gives a medical excuse, that somebody's going to invoke the 25th.
Possibly.
So that's that's one scenario, but we're all just like you said, we're just guessing.
Yeah, and
what's going to happen
if that does happen, which is entirely possible,
and she makes history,
right? I still don't think she wants to be the nominee, is what I'm getting at.
Well, no, right. But if they do the 25th, she makes history, so she don't have to be president because she's going to be in history books as the first Black woman or supposed president. So that's where she gets her fame from, right there. She got her glory.
Right, and it's going to be interesting to see how are they going to get rid of Kamala if they wanted somebody like Josh Shapiro or Gavin Newsom to replace her, because they're not going to
president as the nominee.
Yes.
Well, that'll just piss off everybody, and they still won't win.
Right. because like I said before, they're not going to be able to put another white guy. They're not going to be able to have a white guy step over her. That's just how the Democrat Party is. People would raise holy hell about it in the Democrat Party.
And these people don't know shit about Shapiro, so how are they going to pick him?
Right. Well, the Democrat Party knows all about him, but they're not going to pick a white guy. It's either going to be Hillary Clinton or Gretchen Whitmer, but I'm still going with Hillary Clinton because Hillary wants so bad, and this is the only reason I don't see Kamala being president even for a little bit. Hillary Clinton wants so bad to be the first woman president. And
because you think she'll
we all know how the pecking order works in the Democrat Party. It's the Obamas and the Clintons.
Well, that could be true.
If Hillary Clinton says that Kamala Harris isn't going to be president, it's not going to happen. If Hillary Clinton says that she's going to be the one to replace Biden, she's going to be the one to replace Biden.
That I can agree with you on there. Aaron, yes, that is a possibility too. If they hold power by force, they'll need someone really tough. So that is true too. If they try to do that, like what's his face in Ukraine did,
Zelensky, that is a possibility, and remember I said before, I'm not so worried about this election anymore. I think as long as we do our job, Trump wins in massive numbers. My main concern at this point is not only them possibly assassinating Trump like they tried to do, but what is going to happen within the time frame from the election, Trump being declared the winner, to January 20th when he's officially sworn in. What is going to happen in between that time?
Exactly. Now, Billy Bob says, Brendan, if they want to get rid of Camel Toe, they'll just buzz Hillary. Exactly. And I think Maga says, I think Joe's not endorsing Kamala. Yeah, Brendan mentioned that a couple minutes ago. He said, no, he will not. And that's pretty sad when she was a DEI hire because of him saying that.
Right.
Because if he doesn't want to endorse her, I mean, she should have never been in that position in the first place. And he only did it to get black votes. That's
exactly right. I mean, why would you not endorse your vice president? I mean, that's the whole reason you pick a vice president is who is going to do the job of the presidency the best if I am no longer the president, if I am no longer able to carry out my duties as president. Well, that just proves that even more, other than Joe Biden's words, like you said, that she was a DEI hire because apparently they don't trust her to go out there. And like I said, this is why I don't think Kamala is going to be the nominee. Kamala Harris.
No, I agree with you.
She is the only politician that has polled worse than Joe Biden. Joe Biden actually gives them a better chance of beating Trump. And those chances are all but diminished at this point.
Yeah, but they say that Kamala beats Joe. But they say Kamala beats Joe in the poll. So how does that work?
I don't believe that for a second. They're also saying there's polls out there where Kamala beats Trump. Kamala's numbers have been worse than Joe Biden's ever since both of them were installed in the White House. That math does not add up. Nobody likes her at all. And nobody likes Biden. Nobody likes either of the two.
I didn't get CNN's because they came out with they were showing probabilities by state. Yeah. And every probability they showed Trump winning.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to work, but
CNN was actually projecting. And when I say this, nobody get comfortable. We still have to go out and vote. CNN was projecting if the trend continues the way it has been, Donald Trump racks up around 330 electoral votes. You only need 270 to be president. 330. They're projecting a landslide, but still, we cannot get comfortable. We have to go out and vote.
We must have saw the same one.
Yeah,
that was the same thing.
Because understand this, that is the reason that CNN put that on there. That is the reason that all these media outlets are projecting that Trump is going to be the winner. Right. Because they want everybody to get comfortable and sit at home and not vote. We cannot do that. We made that mistake during the last midterm. We cannot make the mistake again.
That's why we've been saying it every show that we do. Get out and vote no matter what. Get everybody out to vote. The 10-10-10 rule, guys. Remember that stuff. But MAGA made a remark here that was right. Trump's safety, number one issue. He's not safe, especially now. If this sumbitch drops out, what else does the Democrats have? So they're going to either cheat in the election to try to win. They're going to try to take him out again. Something is going to happen. And Bongino, I think, is right. There's going to be an October surprise, and we're going to be surprised about it. So
now this is just my theory with this whole process. I have really no evidence to back this up. This is just a feeling that I have. I think the reason they are dumping Biden is not to beat Donald Trump in the president race anymore. What I think they are trying to do, I think they are trying to salvage the other candidates they have running for House and Senate. I think they've pretty much conceded that Donald Trump is going to win the presidency. What they're trying to do now, because they understand that Biden is a cancer throughout the entire party, they're trying to save the races in the House and the Senate so they can limit the damage, as they look at it, as damage that Donald Trump will create. And that's what we were saying before. We need a clean sweep this election. We need to increase our majority in the House. We need to take the Senate, which are all entirely possible. I think that is their motive behind dumping Biden now. I don't think it's to beat Trump. I think it's to save the House and the Senate.
Well, Billy Bob thinks you make sense. But John says Trump just needs some gun-toting patriots. Exactly right. That's all he needs. And they can kill a deer from 500 yards away. So that ain't not a problem, man. They get their deer rifles. Ain't nobody coming close to that man. I am as well, John says, for anything and very much justice. Definitely right. You can't believe any polls. They scream just Democrats when they wanted to go in there forever. And that's why we keep saying, all we use polls for is just an idea to get a glimpse into what we think's going to happen and stuff. We take these polls with a grain of salt, period. No matter what. MAGA right, get out and vote. We're telling everybody to get out and vote.
Right. Polls mean absolutely nothing. Polls do not win elections. Votes do. And I'm telling you, that's why the media is putting out these polls, particularly the CNN one that I'm talking about, where they're projecting a landslide. They want all of us to stay at home, assume that Trump has us in the bag, then boom, they can steal it right from us. We cannot make that mistake this time.
Right. Hi, Alan. Glad to see ya. What did he have to say? Blackwater operator, private security. Yeah, I know after the fact, this twit director, they upped his security with some special ops guys and stuff in there. And it should have never happened in the first place, but they did do it. So, all right, we're going to get into this a little bit here. From the House Judiciary Committee, today's the House reveals the security failures at Trump rally, and they had whistleblowers come in. Today, Jim Jordan revealed that the whistleblowers have disclosed to the committee that U.S. Secret Service did not have proper resources for President Trump's campaign in Butler because of staffing shortages. Not only that, get this one. They allocated staffing, and I think Brendan said this the other day, for Jill Biden while she was in Pittsburgh. For one, I want to know why she's flying on Air Force Two without Joe Biden being there, because that's not her plane. That's not for her or Air Force One. And why she's flying it by herself with nobody there. She should be flying commercial and not flying on government taxpayer money like she did when he was in France. She took Air Force One, costing the taxpayers over $1 million for her to fly back here because of Hunter going to court, but then she flew back to France to pick him up. That's bullshit. Taxpayers should not be funding for her to fly wherever the hell she wants to fly. Now, this is getting ridiculous. But
it's the elitists. Are you surprised?
No, not with one bit. But I want to show you guys this video. And I broke it down into 3 different videos because of the length of it, but you got to see all 3 parts. So we're going to stop in between each one and talk a little bit about this. But the first one's the longest one ever. But this is the director of the Secret Service at the RNC. For one, what the hell is she doing there? We'll get into that after this video. Take a look at this.
All of us were on the call today. Very disappointed. We were all in the queue trying to answer questions, and until we've run out of questions, they hadn't. Every one of us had questions that we wanted to ask. We felt we didn't get any of the responses that were necessary from you. Very disappointed in your leadership. I have called for your resignation, and I'd rather you resign tonight or start answering our questions right now about the death threat to President Trump and allowing him to go on stage in Pennsylvania at a time when he'd already been alerted that there was somebody with a spotter, all these situations already identified an hour before, and you let him go on stage without the knowledge of him, the team on the ground, and you will put him within less than an inch of his life. So resignation or full explanation to us right now.
We kept trying to get our questions in, and he never was running the fire. It did not have been the director who was nearly killed. You knew an hour out you had a suspicious person, and at 5:51, according to the timeline of your deputy, you identified a potential threat. And then at 5:53, you told, or someone told, that...
Okay, I'm not going to sit there and play the whole thing, but there's Senator Blackburn and 3 other senators in there that are yelling at her right there at the RNC and telling them they want to get to another room and talk about this. And she's telling them at the end that she's got to go. And they said, okay. And she took off. They chase her and try to run from her down. And watch this next part of them chasing her. Oh, yeah, the senators are chasing her. Watch this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Afghanistan war veterans.
Go ahead, Senator.
Good evening, my fellow. No shame, no concern.
You answer the United States. I'm going to tell you the answer. The answer to us. The answer to us. This is exactly what we were doing today.
This was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers. You owe President Trump answers.
Go. People of the United States. You're the head of the Secret Service.
You owe answers.
You owe answers to the Senate, to the House, to the President, the past President, and you owe answers to the president.
The president should have this bit of protection for crying out loud.
Now, you see her running away from them. Sean, what's up, man? Glad you stopped by. Where's everybody at? Got to find them. But she's running from them, not answering questions, thinks she doesn't have to answer questions to her bosses. She just runs away and like it's nothing. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's definitely a cover up. I mean, you see how she was almost running away from the 2 senators that were questioning her. I mean, if you did your job correctly, didn't do anything wrong, you would be willing to answer questions, and it was clear that she was not.
Exactly right. Now, watch the last part of them, the two senators that were actually chasing her, talking about this. This is a short one. Listen to this.
I'm John Barrasso, chairman of the Senate Republican Conference. Senator Blackburn. I'm John Barrasso. I'm John Barrasso, chairman of the Senate Republican Conference. Senator Blackburn and I just went face-to-face with the director of the Secret Service asking for specific answers about what happened with President Trump in Pennsylvania and how that shooter was able to get off a clear shot when the FBI and the Secret Service knew that there was a suspicious person an hour in advance of when the shooting occurred.
And they identified a potential threat at 5:51. She would not answer our questions. She wanted to say it was not the time or place. This is after we've been through a conference call today where the question queue got cut off. But I've got a message for her. She can run, but she cannot hide because the American people want to know how an assassination attempt was carried out on former President Donald Trump.
Now, she's exactly right. I love that woman. She does everything that she don't give a shit. She puts it out straight the way it should be done, and I love her. I mean, she's done a great job, and it's awesome.
Yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't have answers because I don't know if you were going to bring this up yet, Charlie. I can't remember, so I hope I'm not stepping on what you're doing here. But it was reported that the shooter's parents had called police.
You are, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to play a video after you're done talking about this. Then,
okay. Well, it was reported that the shooter's parents had contacted police at least 3 hours prior to the shooting taking place. Now, if you figure that in with the 26 minutes it took them to finally engage the shooter, that is at least 3 hours and 26 minutes that they knew about this threat. Why in the hell was Donald Trump anywhere near that stage?
Exactly right. But I want to comment on what Sean said. Mel K's feed went down, then American Rebellion's feed went down. Shit, and even my feed went down last night. Sean, when did Mel K's and ARs go down? Was that today or was that last night? But anyways, he's right. And I'm going to play you this video that I had for that exact what he brought up. So we're going to watch that. It's only about 1:34. Listen to this.
Tonight, we've learned that hours before a man tried to kill former President Trump, his family, this man who tried to kill him, his family tried to call the cops.
And that is according to federal sources. They confirmed that the shooter's family reported him missing on Saturday before the former president's rally. Fox's Caroline Elliott joining us now live from the crime scene in Butler, Pennsylvania with more tonight. Caroline.
Mark, Christina, federal investigators are still trying to piece together exactly what happened before Saturday's shooting. Federal sources tell us the shooter's family knew their son was missing and even called police hours before Saturday's rally. It's unclear what his parents told police or if they realized their AR-style rifle was missing at the time. Federal sources tell us several warnings came in before the shooting happened. In fact, video shows one of them. You can hear rally goers trying to warn police over and over again, telling police a suspicious man was on top of the roof.
We have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. It's much tougher than it happens. You ain't quiet on the roof, big guy. Up here.
Investigators have been going through the shooter's phone and computer, but so far, no word on a possible motive. Mark, Christina.
But now you see this. Now, what Brendan was talking about earlier in the day, he asked for the gun to go and bullets to go to the shooting range. Well, then he went and bought bullets, He tried to buy a ladder and didn't get the ladder for some reason. So there was no ladder.
He got a ladder. There was a ladder.
No, there wasn't. Dan Bongino got it from the Secret Service people. There was no ladder. He tried to buy one, didn't get the ladder. He climbed on an air conditioner, climbed up on there to get away from the cops that were actually chasing him that couldn't get through because of the fence, and climbed up there. And so people were spreading rumors about the ladder being there, and that's what was going on with that. And then so many stories are going out, it's unreal.
Yeah, this is what I was seeing. This picture, this is going around Twitter. It looks like the same building. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't tell, but I know Dan said that he got it from one of the Secret Service guys sent it to him. There was no ladder, and he never bought a ladder, and that's what he got.
I don't know.
Danny Boy 55. This is what you get whenever you appoint someone by woke standards and not actual qualifications. Yes. And she has entitlement mindset, and she's actually believes that she doesn't have to be held accountable. That's right, and that's bullshit, because she's responsible for everything that went on. This isn't a conspiracy; it's treason. And he climbed up. Yeah, and he said the same thing. He climbed up on the air conditioner. That's what Dan reported today. Thanks, Dan Boy. Yeah.
But, the only question that needs to be asked really is, they knew about this threat. And they knew it, hours prior. Why in the hell was Donald Trump anywhere near that stage?
Yeah, and that's what Dan kept saying too.
That's the simple question that needs to be asked, and really the only question.
All right.
Well, there are many questions, but that's the most important one.
Right.
Why in the hell did you allow him on stage when you knew that there was a shooting threat?
Right.
There was a shooter threat.
And we're getting so many stories coming out like this, and then here's another one. This one comes from, let's see. Now, this is Gateway Pundit. Trump's assassination attempt. Federal snipers overlook rooftop sniper from 40 feet away. They could have walked over to him and stopped him 40 feet away. But the problem I have with this is because they're inside the building too.
Yeah.
Inside the building on the second story, looking through a window when he's right above them. And remember when we were talking about that, Brendan, when they couldn't have heard him?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can't hear him on a metal roof, and it just makes no sense. I don't want to hear the whole sloped roof bullshit. I mean, why in the hell would you have snipers inside a building, not on the roof? That makes no sense.
Well, that's another thing Dan brought up today. He said that they talked with everybody else and said, we're good with through this window. We can get a clear line of sight. Well, not when he's above your dumbass.
Exactly. That's my point. There ain't nobody getting out of your line of sight if you're on the roof. They should have been on the roof to begin with. You don't go in the building where there's even more blind spots. There are no blind spots if you're on the roof.
They were too hot and they wanted the air conditioner. That's probably what it was.
Probably exactly what it was. It's turned into a union job, I guess.
Right. And BLC on Rumble says one news station said a ladder, the other say an ARC unit, plus snipers inside the building took the pictures of him prior to, and he said, I swear they let him take a shot before they took him out.
They did.
And then Denny Boy said, I believe that BLC was right. And that's what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing. This has all been a total fuck up from the beginning.
Absolutely. And it's
woman is to blame.
Yeah, and you almost have to assume at this point that it was intentional, just like everything we've seen with the Biden regime. It's not incompetence. It's intentional. You do not screw up that bad and it be a legitimate screw up. You know what I mean? That's the reason she hasn't been fired. If it was truly a mistake, she would have been fired. The only reason she is not fired is because it was an inside job. They wanted President Trump killed that day. But by the hand of God, he was not. That is the whole reason she still has a job.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. John says, he heard there was a letter involved, or he saw a ladder too that day.
Yeah, that's what some outlets are reporting. I have no idea.
Alan says that there's 3 different weapons from one from a water tower. They do have proof, and Dan Bongino brought this up from another good source of his, that his phone was pinged there like 2 weeks before. And what was he doing? What do they do when they go to do that? Surveillance.
Yep, he was.
They're surveilling the area, knowing where he's got, because they said that he had his weapon was broke down in a backpack, so he had to put it together when he got there. They also saw him with a rangefinder and did nothing about it.
Yeah, so that's my point. They saw this guy climb up on the roof. They saw him assemble his gun. I mean, what the hell did they think his intentions were? He was looking for a shooting range and got lost. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But when you said about the parents, they called him, like you said, like 3 hours earlier, but they were worried about him because they said he could be a threat to the rally.
Yes.
So
exactly.
how did they find this out? And why wasn't it reported days or months when they found out? How did they know that he was going to be a threat? They don't say that part.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Donald Trump should not have been anywhere near that stage. As I said, they should have evacuated everybody out of that area. They should have said, we have a possible threat. We need to keep everybody out, because think about this. Nobody would have been shot if they would have taken just those steps. The firefighter would not have lost his life. The other two would not have been injured, and President Trump would not have been injured. This was a complete and total, I want to call it a failure, but I don't believe it's a failure. I believe it was intentional.
Right, and that's what Danny Boy from Rumble says. It's appearing more and more that this was an attempted execution, not an assassination.
Yeah.
And they did not stop him, though, BLC. They did not stop him with that rangefinder, but they saw him, but they said it was just a rangefinder. So, but you got a suspicious looking dude with a rangefinder at a place where the president's going to be in just a few days. So exactly why wouldn't they stop him?
Yeah. And there's no way that they couldn't have seen this guy. I mean, these people are trained in this. You know, you see a building 150 yards away that looks directly at the stage. I mean, like I said, if you were going to assassinate a president, you could not ask for a better setup than that. That is a clear, short shot. 150 yards isn't shit. Why in the hell was that entire building not secure? Having snipers on the roof, not on the second floor inside. And why was the president allowed to take the stage?
Right, exactly. And Denny Boy says, you two are figuring this out. No, why isn't the Secret Service figuring it out? Because they don't want to. Exactly.
They haven't figured out. It was intentional. I'm not talking about the Secret Service agents that jumped in.
The uppity ups.
They did their job. It's the people at the top. They knew what was going to happen with this. If they were seriously trying to keep the president safe, talking about the people at the top, of course, he would have been nowhere near that stage until that threat was taken out, because they knew, like I said, at least 3 hours and 26 minutes prior to the first shot being fired, that there was a possible threat. And that is, at the very least, they may have known even longer. Who knows?
Right. Billy Bob asked why it all happened to a building that BlackRock owns to begin with.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, and they have gas sex inside. So far, it looks like 3 different shooters. I don't think it's 3 different shooters, because they would have taken out more people if it was they were doing it. But supposedly, this guy had plans of shooting the crowd. But because of the hurry, he had to hurry up and start shooting. He was not in the position to start shooting into the crowd. He only had enough sight to hit the stage only. So that's why they say, now, this is what they're saying, that he was going for them. And that's why he didn't shoot into the crowd as much as he did, because he couldn't get to the line of sight. So I don't know, but we'll never find out the truth, no matter what.
Probably not, no.
Right. And Alan, you're right. The parents were both therapists, and they brainwashed that son of a bitch. I could have made that shot with open sights. Oh, yeah, at 130 yards, shit, yeah. That would have been an easy hit. And I'm not that good of a shot anymore. I haven't practiced in a while. Billy Bob, where is the security cam footage of the buildings that the shooter climbed up to the roof that BlackRock owns?
Probably
You don't, there is no, the only footage you got is people standing there watching him climb up on the building. Then you had a coward cop that ducked down and didn't go back and try to get him, knowing he had a gun because the guy said it pointed it at him. So you got a coward cop that should have just pulled his weapon, jumped back up there and shot him. And that didn't happen. So much as shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And thank God Trump's not dead.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if he turned his head at the right time, I mean, if he would have had his head just tilted a little bit more in the opposite direction, he would have been dead. It would have went right through his brain, completely cut his nervous system. It would have shut everything down in his body. He would have been done. I mean, he just turned his head. I mean, what are the odds? Because Trump doesn't use charts too often during his rallies. Very, very rare. What are the odds he would show a chart at that time and just happen to turn over and look at the screen like this at that time? I mean,
exactly.
I mean, what are the odds? But this should have never happened. And, you know, there is no reason that she should not be fired. And you would think that there would be so much political pressure because this isn't a Republican or a Democrat issue when you're, you know, talking to the normies out there.
Right.
You would think there would be so much political pressure to have her fired over this. I mean, if you don't get fired for this, what in the hell do you get fired for within the illegitimate Biden regime? What the hell can you get fired for?
Right. Well, I'm going to cut you off, Brendan, because we're going to shoot over to the RNC. Eric Trump is talking, and he's probably going to be the one that introduces his dad. So let's take a look.
I'll probably be gone. See you.
All right.
System, they don't even hide it anymore. My father has been censored. The former president ripped off Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook while terrorist organizations remain intact. My father has been persecuted, targeted by far-left Democrats, funded by special interest groups, and hand-picked judges. My father has been pulled off the ballots of states, radical justices attempting to defy the will of millions of Americans who adore who he is and what he stands for. My father even became the target of an assassin who almost killed America's single greatest hope for our future. The swamp is terrified of this incredible movement. They're terrified of it. They're terrified of you and the tens of millions of people watching us on TV right now. They've tried everything to keep him from you, everything, to destroy his legacy, to destroy his family. They have failed, and they will not win. I love my Florida delegation right here. Thank you. My father stands before you with the most votes of any Republican candidate in the history of our nation. He has defied the predictions of every political pundit. He fills stadiums across our country. He energizes Americans to the issues facing this nation and does so with unvarnished honesty. He is not a threat to democracy. He is a threat to those who despise our republic, many whom are bought and sold, bribed and coerced, people who have never signed the front of a check and who have been dependent on the government their entire adult lives. Today, as it was in 2016, America's at that crossroads again. Energy prices are soaring. Interest rates are crippling. Everything is unaffordable. The US dollar has been diminished. Inflation has made it impossible for Americans to live, to save for their future. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our border is out of control. Millions are dead and displaced in Russia and Ukraine, a war that has no end and a war that we are funding. The Middle East has become a hornet's nest. Our greatest ally, Israel, totally under siege. Fentanyl is killing our youth and destroying families, while the current administration stands idly by, hoping their inaction will import illegal votes. Crime terrorizes our cities and our suburbs as far-left policies handcuff police. Male athletes, guys my height, 6'5", are swimming in women's sports. Destroying the dreams of young girls who have trained every minute of their lives. We no longer trust our elections. We no longer trust our judicial system, and we no longer believe that our government is working in our best interest. In spite of where we are today as a nation, I'd like to speak to every American. To the homeless veteran sleeping under a bridge as illegal immigrants are housed in the most expensive hotels in New York. I'm sorry. We know it's wrong, and we will fix it. To the single mother who can no longer afford her rent, afford groceries, and has been forced to work 3 jobs, I'm sorry. It does not have to be this way. To the parents who lost a son or daughter to fentanyl, including the incredible woman that spoke the other night, while an administration does absolutely nothing, I'm sorry. Your government can do so much better, and it will. To the children who are being brainwashed instead of learning the fundamentals of school, I'm sorry. There are teachers who care, and my father will empower them. To the law enforcement officers, our brave Border Patrol, Secret Service agents who work every single day to protect our communities, knowing damn well that the system will throw you under the bus, I'm sorry. We will stand behind you. To commuters often petrified to take a bus, take a train, or walk the streets in cities across our nation, I'm sorry. That man right there will fix this. To the construction workers, to the middle-class families, to the families with children with disabilities, families who can no longer afford medical benefits or to take a vacation, I'm sorry. We will make America great again. And to my father, who has been ruthlessly silenced, slandered, and attacked by a corrupt administration, I'm sorry. We know, and America knows, that they're not just after you, they're after all of us, and you just happen to be standing in their way. And you just have to be standing in their way. To all Americans watching tonight, the greatest retribution will be our success. Success not just for ourselves, but for our grandchildren and our children. Under President Donald J. Trump, the swamp will be drained. America will be respected. Our cities will be safe. Our streets will be clean. And our border will once again be secure. We will have peace We will have prosperity. Your hard-earned tax dollars will enrich a better America, not be squandered in corrupt foreign nations. Education will be handed back to the states. We will no longer be 30th in the world. We will be first. Our children will understand family, our children will have values, and our children will love God. Our country will prioritize free speech, respect freedom of religion, and honor our Constitution. As his son, I've never been more proud of a person in my life. A man who has defied all odds more than once. A man who believed in the promise of America when others turned away. A man who saw a nation in need of a champion and answered that call with unwavering determination and courage. A man who survived a bullet that was intended to eliminate him permanently from our future and from our family. Never have I been more proud to be a Trump. Never have I been more proud to stand by my father's side. I remain incredibly honored to be part of this journey, a journey with all of you, a journey to save the greatest country on earth, a journey with the most incredible people I have ever met. Dad, 5 days ago, Laura, Luke, Carolina, and I held our breath as we saw blood pour across your face. By the grace of God, divine intervention, and your guardian angels above, you survived. You are the
Hedge fund CEO Dave McCormick knows one thing: how to make a fortune outsourcing jobs. In the Senate, he would block the creation of 200,000 clean energy jobs. When Dave McCormick wins, Pennsylvania loses.
See that I have two really big monitors on here, as well as my tower, which by itself weighs like...
The whole world saw your strength as you stood up. You wiped the blood off your face, and you put your fist in the air in a moment that will be remembered as one of the most courageous acts in the history of American politics. You shouted, "Fight, fight, fight!" I'm honored to be your son. I'm honored to speak to our great nation tonight. You are a true leader. You epitomize strength. Our country loves you. Our country appreciates you. Our country misses you. And on November 5th, our country will re-elect you as the 47th President of the United States of America. Good night, Milwaukee. God bless you all.
try to talk as little as possible. So, a rousing speech, of course, from his son, Eric Trump. Back to a little bit of music. A lot to digest there. Honestly, this is a direct case from a son talking about his father nearly being assassinated. Very emotional, very strong. Also, a very strong, wonderful prayer from the Reverend Franklin Graham. But before that, a Trumpian moment. I mean, Hulk Hogan running wild in the city of Milwaukee, John. And yeah, it's goofy, it's silly, it's Trumpian. This place was on fire.
It was on fire. I sent a picture of it to one of my oldest friends, and he said his young son at home was enthralled by what he was watching. And I don't know how many kids are enthralled by political conventions, but that's where we're at. The other thing I was paying very close attention to, many of these speeches have been very carefully scripted, of course. People are reading off a teleprompter. The Hulk was not reading off a teleprompter. That entire thing was straight from the heart. And of course, like us, you know, we grew up in the 80s, more or less. Seeing Hulk rip off the shirt brings back a lot of memories.
It's certainly, but they're bringing in younger people. They're having fun here, and there's also going to be a lot of substance that Eric Trump teed up on the border and other issues.
Yeah, it was indeed not probably the order. Hulk may have meant to go earlier, and then he was delayed, but somehow it worked. Everything you're doing, I just feel like it worked. You can have Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt, revealing the Trump, saying, I didn't want to get political, but here we are. And then a very powerful moment by the legendary Franklin Graham, where everyone bowed their heads in reverence. And that was, you could hear a pin drop.
Absolutely. I want to make another quick point in case the speeches start again. John found a picture online. Former First Lady Melania Trump is backstage, and you have more reporting about other family members.
Yes, Jared and Ivanka are here in the building as well, and so we got the whole Trump family back together. Everyone with a Secret Service nickname appears to be here in the house tonight.
That's incredible. They're all coming together for this special occasion. We're going to hear from Dana White from the UFC, so there's going to be more hype. Kid Rock still on the program. There's a lot more, but the event, to quote somebody from wrestling or boxing, because there's that kind of excitement. Donald Trump has always loved a great prize fight from when he had casinos back in Atlantic City. It's the former I mean, there's all this great stuff happening. We still have the former president yet to come.
Yes, and it was funny, actually, Hulk Hogan, because he wasn't on prompter, at one point he had this really funny exchange where he says, wait, I'm having a flashback. When I won the title, Donald Trump was in the audience, remember?
WrestleMania or something.
Yeah, and so it's like all these converging of stories. Donald Trump has led an extraordinary life, and what I was thinking about when Eric was talking is how he decided to get into politics, not to enrich his own family. Of course, that's a ding there, and a deserved one to Joe Biden and his family. And he says he built the New York City skyline. And he was never worried about being politically correct, but he restored hope. Donald Trump did so much for New York as a businessman. He's always been larger than life. This is larger than life.
It is,
this election is larger than life. And
a lot happening
it's amazing.
Because, so number one, John, I want to run something past you and then something past Bianca.
Sure. Right.
For you, there is reporting out there. Maybe we're going to get some. That Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, according to CNN, may have a call scheduled tomorrow with former President Trump. He's talked to other world leaders. The idea that Joe Biden is reporting that he may be inch closer to leaving, and now Trump's going to be on the phone with Zelensky?
Hopefully he won't get impeached for this phone call.
Incredible.
I'm sure he won't call him Putin either. You know, it makes sense that they would probably schedule a call. Well, we saw Orban after the NATO summit go to Mar-a-Lago. It's sort of like a mini White House right now.
And of course, we don't know the exact timing of this, but we're right around the time in which Donald Trump would start to get top secret security briefings, as is tradition for the president, both presidential contenders in a race like this. And what would the situation in Ukraine, how different would it be if Donald Trump were in office? He claims he could end that war in one day.
He might start moving towards a peace deal with a call tomorrow. What's happening?
This music just feels very light and angelic, doesn't it?
Well, I believe this would probably be Melania's walkout music, if I had to guess.
It's very regal.
And there she is. You're right.
Yes.
And there she is. Wow. The former First Lady of the United States.
And there was a picture circulating online taken by the New York Times' Doug Mills, who I have to say is having quite a run of pictures,
he was at the
iconic
rally
pictures.
in Pennsylvania.
And she had that bright smile on her face. These are not moments that we normally see the First Lady, so let's let this one breathe.
Absolutely. You can see the beautiful former First Lady, all of these leftist magazines that didn't want to put her on the cover. Oh, wow.
This is a story as uniquely American as the ideals and freedoms we all cherish. A story of a life dedicated to dreaming big. A story about giving back to the people in his beloved city. But most of all, this is a story about putting his country first. And it's a story best told in pictures. Young and confident, Donald Trump wasn't afraid to think big and build even bigger. And he left his mark on the New York skyline that greeted visitors from around the world. But he wasn't just an American entrepreneur. He became a folk hero. Celebrities and sports stars wanted to be seen with him. Politicians sought his approval. And New Yorkers just loved him. And he loved them back. And he gave back. Just one example, saving the Woolman's skating rink.
The Woolman's skating rink in Central Park is open again. The city spent nearly 6 years and $12 million trying to fix it. And then to the rescue, developer Donald Trump. As Tracy Egan tells us now, he accomplished in 3.5 months what the city couldn't do in 6 years.
Donald, you performed a great public service.
There was no denying that Donald Trump was the toast of the town, but he was also something even more important, a patriotic American. And like many others, he was becoming increasingly troubled by the direction of our country.
Because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off.
But who would ever run for president and leave such a glamorous life? Appearances in movies, best-selling books, a widely popular TV show. But for Donald J. Trump, the calling to save his country was even stronger. The mission, more important. The number of Americans being left behind, too large. And so, in Donald Trump fashion, he announced he was running for president, in it to win. And he did.
From his first day in office, the Washington politicians learned something about President Trump. He's not afraid to fight for what he believes in. They call that having the courage of your convictions. First up, the Trump tax cuts, largest in America's history, and it led to higher take-home pay for working families. Unfortunately, today, taxes are up and incomes down. The politicians just never learn. Next for President Trump, secure our border. Check. Miles and miles of wall built. ISIS another terrorist deterred. But now, we have the Barney Fife of border security, leading to 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl coming in. Brutal migrant crime spreading across America. And ISIS now here. President Trump promised he'd keep America out of endless wars. Welcome words to the families of our young men and women who serve. And another promise kept. He started by strengthening our military, then traveled the world, meeting with our allies, and even with our main adversaries, just so they understood that America's strength and resolve was back. Because that's what a strong commander-in-chief does. And it led to a stable world at peace and our troops safe. Today, a different story. Our enemies smelled weakness, then set the world on fire. Putin saw it, then invaded Ukraine. Hamas saw it, then started a war in the Middle East. There's one more thing we've learned about President Trump. He believes so strongly in America, so optimistic for our possibilities, and so committed to fighting to once again make our country great, that there is nothing that is going to stop him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kid Rock.
What up, America? If you're ready for President Trump to take the stage, I need everybody to stand up. I need everybody to put a fist up in the air. Everybody, get a fist up in the air. Now follow me. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say somebody scream. The devil without a cause. I'm back with the beaver hats and Ben Davis slacks. 30-pack of stroll, straight rock and roll. No road gain in the propane flow. The chosen one, I'm the living proof. With the gift to gab from the city of truth. You know I jab, stab, and not critics back. And I did not start a win. I said yeah, I'm going platinum selling rhymes. I went platinum 7 times. Still they ill and wanna see us fry. I guess because only God knows why. They call me cowboy, I'm a singer of black. Throw a fist in the air, let me see where you at. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. I say Trump, Trump. I like ACDC and ZZ Top. We'll see this beasties in the kings of rock. Skinner, Seeger, Lip, Corn, Stone. David Attico and No-Show Jones. Yeah, pass that bottle of brown. Got the rock from Detroit, the soul from Motown. The underground, straight Detroit pimp. With tracks to Mac and slap back to back. Never gain no pay, I don't play with ass. Well, watch me rock with Liberace Flash. Punk rock the Clash, boy bands are trash. I like Johnny Cash and Grandmaster Flash. Flash, Flash. Oh, they call me cowboy, I'm a singer of black. Throw a fist in the air, let me see where you at. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. American badass. Watch me, kid. You can roll and rock, or you can. I'm the ultimate. I'm like amazing grace. I'm gonna rock and roll like a rock this place. All super fly, living double wide. Psychom fly, the big time to ride. Feel sack to share, bring it fast to flare. Like a long hair swinging, middle finger in the air. Snakeskin boots, 65 Chevelle. See me ride and sit and hit a rebel yell. I won't live to tell. So if you do, rock for freedom and rock for truth. Who knew I'd blow like Oklahoma? Florida, Georgia, Arizona, smell the aroma, and check my hits. I know it's stinks in here, cause Trump's the They call me cowboy, I'm a singer of black. Throw a fist in the air, let me see where you're at. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump. I need to hear you louder than that. One more time. I'm a cowboy, badass and black. You sing it Trump, Trump, Trump. From side to side, from front to back. Come on, Trump, Trump, Trump. Put Detroit City back on the map. We sing it Trump, Trump, Trump. Get rocks in the house. This is where I'm at. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the most patriotic American badass on earth, President Donald J. Trump. But first, another American badass, my brother, Dana White. God bless America.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dana White. I am the CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So 2 weeks ago, I got a call from President Trump asking me if I'd be willing to speak tonight. As usual, there was no pressure, no demands. He asked me as a friend, and of course I said yes. Then, after I accepted his offer, he sent me a text message, and I just want to read to you a little piece of what President Trump wrote to me. Dana, I'm so honored that you will be doing the introduction at the National Republican Convention. Think of it as the biggest fight you ever had, a fight for our country and even the world. I only wish you didn't have to interrupt your family trip, but I hope they understand they love you and they know how important this is. Now think about this. This man's running for president of the United States. He's fighting for the future of this country, and he's concerned about interrupting my family trip. That's the President Trump that I know, a man who truly cares about people. The mainstream media likes to push the narrative that he doesn't care about anyone but himself. I absolutely know that's not the truth, because I've been friends with this guy for 25 years. And for the people who know me, they'll know this is true. I just want to make something very clear. Nobody in the Trump campaign has ever told me what to say. Nobody tells me what to say, and I'm nobody's puppet. And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. And I know President Trump. I know President Trump is a fighter. I've been saying this since 2015. Now look at what's happened over the last 10 years. We have all seen it with our own eyes. I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life. The higher the stakes, the harder he fights, and this guy never, ever gives up. So what's at stake here? The answer is in President Trump's text, and I quote, "A fight for our country." I know why he's running for president again. Why else would he put himself through everything he's dealt with just to get back here? We all know he doesn't need this. This guy's got a great life. He has a beautiful family, and he has achieved everything that you could possibly achieve in life. I know President Trump is literally putting his life on the line for something bigger than himself, and he's willing to risk it all because he loves this country. And I know he wants what's best for the American people, all American people. I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity. President Reagan once said, "Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives." And if you're buried in government red tape, how will you ever start your own business? If you're struggling to pay your bills, how can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election. We are choosing who we want to lead us in this fight. I know President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader, and this country was in a much better place when he was in the Oval Office. In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. And I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon-to-be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take it away. I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. We're going to do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually, most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over, but I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like that. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey Comparator. Unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded. Two other great warriors, spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver, two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was. I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James, and Corey, including from a friend of mine just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, I'm going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey and the other two. By the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. Going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide.
This is your pilot. On your left, Dave McCormick's $16 million mansion in Connecticut. Here's his Wall Street hedge fund. He made millions outsourcing jobs. Here's Pennsylvania, where Dave didn't vote for 15 years. Time to head back to Connecticut, Dave.
And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania. And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many. So I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron. We love our Barron. And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, was he good? You know, he was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, you know, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, you know, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. You know, he became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. You know, he has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So that's Lee Greenwood, a very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. You know, they may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them and all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country. And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha. He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America great again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great, great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, JD, you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here, creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation. To every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic, I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together, we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try. Right to try is a big deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill. And hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia, Europe, or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe, in the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill. Can you believe what they're doing? But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. They know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress. And I said, oh, that's okay. We won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. And we built, most of the wall is already built. And we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, And the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it, it doesn't matter because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported
Hi, Mark Barden at Sandy Hook Promise here. When the gunman...
I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, oh, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they have ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love, it's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda, and it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican Senate, we have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. You can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of $28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent, but soon we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times, think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life, I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They've spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless Green New Scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day 1. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast. They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States. We have long been taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus. We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again and many, many hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip. And it's a great building. And the waitress comes over. How's everything going? Really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this. She said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money. It's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay them millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and everybody's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. But no hope or dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world. And we have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back, and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back. And I called up, and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day, I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America. And we're going to do that on day one. That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders. And by the way, and I think everybody as a Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally. Less than 4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history. But you can see on the chart that saved my life, that was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest. It was done by the Border Patrol, one of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it. And by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. And if you look at the arrow on the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion, but the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted a sealed border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented, so unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And they gave it to us, but not easy. Canceled our Safe Third agreements. Demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. and took 93. This is the previous administration. 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed, and this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are going down because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough, rough, rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails, he's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. I was the first president in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respected. And you saw this. Hungry, strong country, run by very powerful, tough leaders. Tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he came out recently. They were asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. But they said to him, tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay. He used a word I wouldn't use because I can't use that word, because you'd say it was braggadocious. The press would say he was a braggart. I'm not a braggart. But Viktor Orban said it. He said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to happen. The whole world was at peace. And now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. We defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq, something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with them, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're in a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions, horrifically wounded. And by the way, we have a man in this room who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown, who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person, and he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown. And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster. Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly, and they weren't doing things perfectly, so we said it doesn't kick in. 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. You've heard this story. Abdul, still there, still the head of the Taliban. The press got on me. Why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. You got to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. The other guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Do you know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new, beautiful weapons that we gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you show me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18 months, we had not one attack on an American soldier by the Taliban. 18 months. And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons. And you know who has it now? China has it now. We were keeping that. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that the headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars with just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change, and we gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody's sitting over there. And it was a big contract that everybody wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense system. 342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good. But now we have unbelievable technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America first. We will unleash the power of American innovation. And as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will end immediately. And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. I mean, we're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, this crazy electric mandate, if you're going to do this all, and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1. So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. He said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up, and he was a fantastic guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic, and I'm working so hard to adhere to his note to me. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. But if the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God. We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the country that we love. The attacker in Pennsylvania wanted to stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about you. It's your movement. It's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far. Can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You have been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite.
Joe Biden reversed President Trump's successful border policies. Now illegals are overrunning our cities, busting budgets. More for illegals, less for us. Only President Trump will secure the border and stop the invasion of illegals.
This is the Rush Order t-shirt I made for my nonprofit using my new logo. And it arrived in just 2 days.
We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach. and that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to establish our cherished republic. They fought so hard, they lost so many. They pushed thousands and thousands of miles across a dangerous frontier, taming the wilderness to build a life and a magnificent home for their family. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, scaled towering mountains, and braved rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. When our way of life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many just so many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people. And building monuments to those great people is a good thing, not a bad thing. They saved our country. No challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. No enemy was too fierce. Together, these patriots soldiered on and endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God. Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Any disagreements have to be put aside and go forward, united as one people, one nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, I think it's so beautiful, American flag. Tonight, I ask for your partnership, for your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote. Going to make our country great again. Every day I will strive to honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, we will keep striving toward our shared and glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together, we will save this country, we will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And quite simply put, we will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wisconsin, God bless you. God bless you, Wisconsin, and God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
There you have it, everyone. Great speech. Inspirational. Just like typical Trump. Typical Trump speech right there. Motivational, everything. I'm glad you guys stuck with me and came back to watch the ending of it. I'm glad I was able to get it up quick enough. But it's been a long, long night. And I've been on here for 3 hours and 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes now. And plus I did my show this morning. And oh my goodness, am I tired. I am not doing my morning show. I hope to be sleeping. But by the time I get up there and wind down and get everything going, I won't want to get up. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please join me tomorrow night. I'm going to be watching out for the Democrats and the liberal idiots and see what they're going to have to say about this. You know, they're going to try to spin it. He had a great night. He didn't have any slurring words, didn't have any forgetfulness like Joe Biden does every time he's on TV, every time he makes a speech. So I'll definitely watch it. You guys are great. Thank you for joining me. And thank you, Pat. You guys have a good night. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll get busy again with another show. Good night, everyone.